Hello, hello, I am Heather, aka Planner Mumsy. Join me for a currently inked for the month of April. Stay tuned. Hey y'all, as you can see here, I have not kept with one of my New Year's resolutions, and that was to keep less pens inked. As you can see, after I started pulling all of my pens from like different places that I had inked up, this is where I ended up, and yeah, it's kind of a lot. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 pens. That's a lot. 18 pens inked up. Kind of crazy. I have a couple pens. I use this like little thing here whenever my pens are out of ink. I shove them in there if I'm not going to just immediately re-ink them up. So I have a couple that are over there, but yeah, those need to be cleaned out. And as some of these empty out, I'm not going to be refilling them. I'm just checking to see if I can get some better light in here. Okay. Let's just go right ahead, and we are going to start from left and work our way over. So let's move this pile. Move this pile over. Okay, so we are going to start with this Leonardo. This is one that I believe it was called Love Potion, and I'm not going to remember all of the inks that I have in here. I mean, we're talking almost 20 pens, and I'm going to do my best, but I think that there's going to be a few that I didn't do a very good job writing down earlier to keep track of what they were. But this one is the Leonardo Fiore Grande, and it has Ferris wheel press, sugar, and spite. I still have some ink left in this one. Or actually, no, I re-inked it up, I believe, because I really enjoy that ink color. And this is one that just never seems to fail me. And here we go. And it's a, you know, it's a broad nib because, y'all, if you know me and you've been here very often, you know that broad nibs are kind of my jam. I really love having the, I'm just looking at how to spell some of these because I don't remember. I just like having a juicy wet writer. For the most part, my writing is always going to be like journaling. And so I like to have that, you know, more of a wet writer versus a fine point. So this is Ferris wheel press, sugar, and spite. And it's just a really, it's sort of like got pink and oranges in here. And so I've been just kind of keeping to this ink in here because it just seems like it's perfect for the actual pen. And I'm not one of those that has to match my ink to my pen, but I just was kind of feeling it when I did this particular one. But I'm thinking I'm probably getting down on this. Let's look. No, I still got half. I must have filled it once already. I had to have, but really love this pen. It's just, I mean, you just can't go wrong with Leonardo's, to be honest. At least I have found you can't go wrong with them. And they're just weighted really nicely, and, you know, all of the special, you know, like with the clip and the different gold hardware on the finials. It's just really pretty, and it goes really nicely together. Then my next pen this is a Narwhal. This was, I believe it was a special edition in their classic line that it was sold at the DC Pen Show 2 years ago. This was when they were announcing their name change, and which is still weird to me because, and I know I say this every time I talk about it, but They still want you to say narwhal, but it's spelled Navalor, which is, I don't know. I mean, you do you, but it's just so weird to me. But this one is not, it's been an okay writer. It's sort of, I think it's like a fine. I think that's all it came in. And yeah, it's okay, but because it's like a TWSBI in the sense that I have all this ink in here, this one's gonna, I feel like I'm probably gonna need to just empty it because I've had this ink in here for way too long. So I'm just gonna say classic because I feel like that's what it was called, but I don't 100% remember. And this particular one, what do I have in here? Goodness, I don't even remember. Sailor, oh, really? It's pretty dark. Okay, so this is Sailor, making sure I'm in frame, Yoza Kira, and it is one of my favorite inks, but it's funny how dark it is in this finer point pen, whereas you get a lot more color variation in like a bigger nib. And look, the sun is like beaming now into my window. We can get back to it. Okay, and then this one is another one that I had a lot of ink in, so it's probably in my last currently inked too. It's just they're kind of cheapy pink Pelikan 200, and I mean it's a decent pen, just in my opinion, not for the price that I paid for it, but in generality it's a decent, you know, it's a decent little writer. I'm not gonna complain about that part of it. For the most part, Pelikan has some pretty decent pens, but like I said, for the price that I paid, it's a little bit more cheap than I would have preferred. I mean, more expensive. Like, it's cheaply made, but it was more expensive than I would have preferred. And this is the Edelstein ink that kind of, it came in like a set, and it was called Rose Quartz. And it is a really pretty ink. It's definitely like in that like baby pink ink, but it's a decent little writer. I mean, I'm not going to complain. It's just, I don't remember. I paid over $300 for this, y'all. So, I mean, like, this pen is not worth more than 150 tops, in my opinion, but it is what it is. And then this is the Pilot Custom. Is it the 823? I always forget because it's the only one like it that I have. It is the Pilot Custom 74. I am definitely way off there. It's a Pilot Custom 74. Get your things right, Heather. This one has a finer nib as well because it was the only nib that I could get this particular pen in. So Pilot Custom 74. And y'all don't judge me for not knowing the names of these pens like right off the top of my head, because with my Graves' disease, I am very, very forgetful. So it's definitely, it's a struggle for me. But it has the Sailor 237 in it. And I mean, I'm a huge Sailor fan. It's probably in my top favorite inks, I would have to say. I really like this pen. And I have seen it come up on the secondary market here and there for sale again recently. One of the pen dealers that I work with a lot is Izumi Pen on Instagram. They tend to get a lot of one-offs or like two-offs of these types of pens. And so it's really, really pretty. It's sort of like purpley, and it's like a lilac purple, and then it's like a lavender purple. So with the gold hardware, I think it's quite beautiful. And then this is the Pelikan, and I'm just looking at it. I really need to buff this one because it is starting to tarnish a little bit on the gold edging, which I don't think y'all are gonna see that the way I can see it, which it's not like a super big deal. It just needs one of these little cloths, and I can do that and kind of get that out of there so that it's not as tarnished. Yeah, that's already way better. Yeah, that's much better. I was just looking around to see, like, do I see it on any other parts here? But the Pelikans in general, they're pretty light, at least I think I have 3. So they are definitely in that category of being pretty lightweight. And I believe, I want to say, I can't remember if this is a 605. I wrote Pelikan 800 on here when I did it, but I don't think it's an 800. I think it's a 6 something. So, and I'm sure I'll be corrected by the Pelikan fanatics out there, but I don't think it's an 800. So Pelikan, and I can't remember, I think it's a 600 or a 605, but I'm just gonna write 600. And what do I have in here? This is, oh, big surprise, Sailor Yozakura. This is definitely a broad nib on this one, and so it writes really well. And I would say out of all of my Pelikans, this is definitely my favorite one and also my most expensive one. So that makes sense. Usually the things that I like the most are the most expensive. That's how it works. But that is the Pelikan. Then this is a custom that I did with Tailored Pen Company, and you can find them on Instagram, but this is my own custom blank. So if you can see it, so it's like a purpley color, but can you see the sparkle in there? There's like sparkle. This is, I call it the Tailored Pen Company, so TPC Lavender Sparkle is what I call it. And it is in kind of like a cigar shape with a tapered edge here. And it's not like writing the best, but I'm just looking to see if I wrote down what ink I put in this one. This is gonna be, yeah, I did. This is Ferris Wheel Press Robina. And I have to be honest, this one, really the nib probably needs to be tuned. You know what? Maybe it's empty. Maybe it's empty. It's probably empty. Let's look. Nope, it's not empty. Okay, so I was trying to give it the benefit of the doubt. Let's get out my happy rag, and let's get out my water pen. So this is what I do to get a pen going. So I take my happy rag and I wipe the top of the nib, and obviously you don't want to press too hard when you're doing that. Then I take my water pen and I rub it over the breather hole all the way down the nib, okay? And what that does is it just kind of helps. A lot of times the reason why it's stopping from writing is because the ink has been in there and it's dried too much. A lot of times. Sometimes the nib just sucks. And then sometimes you need to go in and prime it more. So let's see if that did it. And you know, this is reality. Like my videos are very real here, so sometimes a pen is going to cooperate and sometimes it is not. Ferris wheel press Robina. I know I spelled that wrong, but okay, whatever. And you know, this is kind of a watery down version because obviously since I did that with the water, for a little bit there, it's gonna kind of come across there. That's a little bit better. A little wet from that water, but it's kind of a light ink too, I have to say. I definitely need to tune this nib myself. I have not really played with it a ton. I think maybe a little bit when I first got it, but I haven't done anything with it since. This is another Leonardo, and this one has a funky name that I'm not going to remember. I really need to put a bookmark in this because trying to find it. Okay, so this one is, I didn't write it. I just wrote Leonardo. But I want to say it is like the Grande, I can't remember. Memento. Yes, this is a Memento. I think it's a Memento Zero. I don't think it's the big one. Leonardo Memento Zero. And I have what in here? Un momento. I have Sailor Fuji Sugata in here. So Sailor Fuji Sugata. And this is another one. Just writes really, really well every single time. Again, you just can't go wrong with the Leo. You just can't. Okay, and then same with the Esterbrook's for the most part. This is the regular size SD in the color, I think it's just called Punch. And Esterbrook, these ones write wonderfully every time. Esterbrook SD. And this is the Punch. And darned if I remember the name of the ink though, because that's a pretty bright purple. The same. It's the same as the one above it, which the nibs are quite a bit different. So it's just so much more saturated than the one above it. Let me just move this over. So this one and this one are the same exact ink. You can see that. And I'm gonna just zoom you guys in a little bit there. All right, love, love, love my Esterbrook's. Definitely highly recommend if you don't have one. This is the this is the same one, except this is their oversized, kind of like their king size version. So you can see how much bigger it is. And this one is more expensive because this is just the material itself is more expensive for this one to be made. But this is the Esterbrook OS for oversized. And this is Ferris wheel press, blushing, mushroom. I can't write that over there. And yeah, it's a really it's a good solid writer. This one was a limited edition. There was only 50 of them made, and this is 15 of 50. If you can see that. All right, then we're kind of getting down here to a couple of these. Which one is this? This is, so the blank is a Maverick pen blank, and this was done by Charlie Harvey at Wood Wonders of North Carolina. I absolutely love him for bespoke making pens. So we're just gonna say WW for Wood Wonders. And I don't specifically remember the name of the blank. Yuki Akari. But the ink that is in here is Sailor, and I love this color. It is so pretty. It's just such a vibrant blue. Isn't that pretty? Let me get it closer so y'all can see it a little bit better. It's just so pretty. I love that. It's definitely in my top favorite blue category. But again, I love Sailor. I love Sailor ink. I really do. Okay. Because I have so many pens, I now need to flip the page because it is ridiculous. But my currently inked pens are, whoa. Currently inked pens are too many to fit. So this is Little Pen Designs. This is Candy Nougat. I'm not sure if he makes this type of pen anymore, just as an FYI. I think he was having trouble maybe making the tops in the Candy Nougat. I don't know if he still is or not, but I happen to have one and covet it tremendously. So, Little Pen Designs, and the ink that is in my Candy Nougat is, I don't know because that's a new one that I inked. So that is going to be over here. Sailor 162. Am I in frame there? Yeah, I'm trying to get it so that it's hard for you guys to see the coloration of this ink. I'll have to hold it up for you. Sailor 162. And this pen writes really well too. I think I might have tuned this one myself. I can't remember. Some of them I do just because there's like a specific thing that I'm looking for when my pens, I just like mine to be very buttery smooth. So that's that 162. Then my wonderful little Kawecos. These are my favorite little cheapy pocket pens, y'all. Absolute favorite. If anybody is to ask me, Heather, what would you recommend as a beginner pen, fountain pen? This would be my answer because these are just absolutely my favorite pens. So Kaweco, I never say it right. I can't remember if this was like sky blue. I don't remember what color this one is. as far as the pen color, but I'm pretty sure it's still available, this particular one. A lot of times you can get them halfway decent at Jet Pens, but I mean, you can mostly find these anywhere pretty much that sells fountain pens. This is the Colorverse Rainy Day. Oh, look how wonderful that writes, y'all. I mean, it just like doesn't skip a beat. Like, it's just it's such a cheapy little pen. Like this pen is like, I don't know, less than $30. The obviously ones when you buy the clips, they're a little bit more money to add the clip, but it's like an extra $6 or something. But that is that one. And so these plastic ones, super cheap, highly, highly, highly recommend. Now, if you want to step up from the same exact pen, then you can get the metal ones. And these are more expensive. They're usually a little bit more than $100 per pen. Usually they're anywhere between $150 and $200, sometimes more depending if it's a limited edition. And I'm not a fan of this ink, I don't think. What is in here? What did I put in here? Did I put the Robina in here? No, I did the Sailor Kaweco. I don't know, lately it's not been rating the same for me. I don't know why. Like it's maybe the sheening is stopping up my feed. I'm not really sure, but this particular ink color in some of my pens doesn't perform well, which is kind of funny. But it is a pretty, in general, it's a very pretty color shading wise. And I'm probably just blowing smoke by saying that that's what's causing it. I don't know. Maybe I just needed to clean it better and I haven't done a good job doing that. This is a Sailor Mini, and it has a very fine nib that, I mean, it's fine. I was using it in my personal planner and trying to think of the purple that I have in here. It's quite a mouthful. Murasaki Shikubu. Okay, so definitely more scratchy. You can hear the feedback on that one. Some people love that. I'm not a fan. This is a tailored pen, flower pen, pressed flower pen, tailored pen company. I know I'm kind of getting down on the ink here, so this is probably one that I'm gonna wash soon because of that fact. Sailor 162. Because I'm not really sure I'm gonna be able to write a whole lot more with that one, but it's a very nice, juicy pen. So that is the pressed flower pen by Tailored Pen Company. All right, then we have another Memento by Leonardo. And this one has that same ink, Yuki Akari, in it. Again, I don't know. I must have not known, like I must have had this pen in something else and then inked the same ink. That's usually what happens. I'm like, oh, I want to use this ink, but that is that pen, and that's super pretty. And I think this one was limited too. I can't remember, but it had a lot. They had a lot more in the series. And then these are two new pens that I have not shown and didn't do unboxings. This is my birthday pen, and this is a Scribo, and I have a love-hate relationship with it already because it has a flex nib. And y'all, I'm just clueless. I'm not very good at writing with these fancy nibs. And yeah, so we've been fighting a little bit, and we've not really come to the conclusion on whether or not we like each other. And yeah, so I could just get a different nib and put a different nib on it and it would probably be fine. But I'm definitely not a fan of Scribo's flex nib, and I'm just being straight. I know that there's a lot of people that would fight me about that, but that's me, and I'm just being honest, and I don't have any idea what ink I put in this one, so sorry guys, I don't have this ink. But so the flex nib is supposed to be, you know, depending on how much pressure, you can kind of see, like you can do a fine line and then put pressure on it and get a thicker line. That's great, but I'm not a calligraphy person, and I'm just not gonna be somebody that I'm not somebody that really wants to play around a ton with my nibs. So flex nib for me is a no, and it was a mistake. I should not. I don't mind the pen body itself, and it's pretty, but I shouldn't have the flex nib. Just yeah, shouldn't have done it. And then the last one, which I have not even taken the sticker off yet, I got, I don't know, a little bit ago. And it is absolutely beautifully stunning. It has the gold hardware, and it is both pink and purple with a little bit of white background. I'm trying to, there we go, get that coloration so that you guys can see that. And this one is a Pilot, and this one is the Decimo. Yes, I had to think about it. Is this the Decimo? This is the Decimo VP, and it does have a broad nib, which most of my VP pens don't have broad nibs because it's not always easy to get your hand on one. And I changed this ink because the last ink that I had was so dry and it was not working in this pen at all. Sailor 252 is what's in it now, and this ink works way better. So it was funny, the feedback that says looks like 262. It's funny, the feedback that I got on this pen with a drier ink. It was so, you can hear it a little, but with an ink that's a little bit more wet, it just wrote so much better. And I'll show you. This is the ink that I had in it originally, and it just wasn't coming out very well, and so I really was struggling with that big time. And as soon as I switched it over to this 252, it worked wonderfully, wonderfully, wonderfully. These are some of my favorite pens, Pilot VPs. I have a handful of them now, and yeah, it's definitely something. It's, you know, I like getting the different colors and the limited edition ones. It's just fun for me because I know I love the pen so much. But that is my currently inked pile, and I will zoom out so you can see them again. There they are. But if you guys have any questions about any of these pens, I will do my best to answer. Just know YouTube's not very good at always giving me notifications when somebody asks me a question, so sometimes it might take me a little while to answer. But yes, this is my April currently inked. Hopefully when I do another currently inked, some of these will be gone and there'll be some new ones here. Definitely need to clean some out anyway and just kind of retire them for a little bit, but that is what I have. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment down below, like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye!